and I learned something. I am not smarter than a fifth grader.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 game shows that don't exist anymore.
You have to decide if the answers are giving are correct or they're just blowing smoke. That's how you get the squares.
For this list, we'll be looking at various classic game shows that are no longer still in production. Both original single-run shows and revivals are eligible for inclusion, as long as they have since gone off the air. What's your favorite old game show? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Are you smarter than a fifth grader? Back in 2007, the Fox network decided to remind adults how much grown-ups don't recall from their school days.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Foxworthy, and welcome to the show that gives grown-ups the chance to prove that they are actually smarter than a fifth grader.
The premise was simple. The contestant was asked a series of questions that would easily be answered by children of a certain grade. The more questions players got right, the more money they earned.
Let's see our $25,000 question. How many teaspoons are in 5 tablespoons?
There were plenty of laughs as contestants proved time and time again that much of what we sat through in school doesn't necessarily apply to day-to-day life.
Sounds like you were homeschooled and you were there by yourself.
The last iteration of the show aired its final episode in 2019. Number 9, The Newlywed Game. How well do you really know your significant other?
Thank you and welcome to the Newlywed Game. Well, our newlyweds may be in for the shock of their young lives, and they find out how much they do or do not know about each other.
Well, starting in 1966, recently married couples had the chance to put that to the test. The original version of the Newlywed Game featured married couples who would attempt to answer revealing questions about each other. They'd often have quite the hilarious difference in their answers.
Oh, yes, you have done a striptease to music. Your husband says, no, you haven't.
Well, I always do a striptease. You always just sit there. You
could have fooled old Bobby.
to music? Maybe it wasn't you.
This led to both funny and heated debates that would play out in front of audiences and fellow contestants. The show went through several variations over the years, with one of the more recent versions appearing on the Game Show Network back in 2009, where it also featured its first same-sex couple.
What an opportunity.
Couple number 3 met at a running club.
We're the first one, same-sex marriage, that's going to be seen like.
Number 8, Win Ben Stein's Money. He's been a writer, a lawyer, and has been involved in politics.
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the... Anyone?
So with all that success, he decided to give us his money by answering trivia questions? Not quite. Win Ben Stein's Money was a trivia game show that debuted on Comedy Central in 1997.
So if you're smart enough, fast enough, and if you've got the guts, you can win Ben Stein's money.
Players were quizzed, and if they made it to round 2, they'd compete against Ben himself in an effort to try and win his cash. It won several Daytime Emmy Awards and even featured Jimmy Kimmel as a co-host for the first 3 years.
Well, what can I say, gals? That sound means the round is over. And Lisa, you've got $700 of Ben Stein's money.
The show went off the air in 2003, and no, despite the name, players didn't actually win Ben's real money. Number 7, Password. What's the password? Passwords are an essential part of modern daily life, but back in 1961, passwords were the focus of a clever word association game show.
Barbara, see if you get Sam Dees to say that word for 10 points.
It featured 2 teams of 2 players. Both would have to convey a word called the password to their partner using only single word clues.
Worms. I agree, it wasn't very good.
Contestants had to be very creative in what words they chose and how strongly they emphasized the sound of the word itself. The show ran for 14 years before bowing out in 1975. Variations of the show have since followed, and according to Wikipedia, we may see another one sometime in the near future.
Flipper.
Dolphin.
Number 6, Double Dare. It's hard to imagine the late Alex Trebek hosting anything other than Jeopardy! Yet if we wound back the clock to 1976, we would find him reading clues for a different show called Double Dare.
Play the game of Double Dare with the host of Double Dare, Alex Trebek.
2 players were given a series of clues to help them identify a person, place, or thing. If they thought they knew the answer, they buzzed in and the opposing player's booth would be closed, preventing them from hearing the answer.
That's Roger's buzzer. Chuck's booth is closed. What's the answer, Roger?
Eisenhower.
You're right. Okay.
Players could then dare another opponent to guess an answer, hoping they'd fumble and lose out on the points. The show only lasted one season, and Trebek started his Jeopardy duties 8 years later.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of all of us, welcome to America's favorite answer and question game, Jeopardy!
Number 5, Minute to Win It. One of the coolest parts of this game show was its use of everyday items.
In this challenge, the contestant must move a total of 2 cookies from their forehead to their mouth using only their facial muscles.
Instead of a giant wheel, board, or other flashy distractions, the show focused on 60-second challenges that incorporated objects you'd find around your home, or even at work.
Come on, Michelle, you got it. Nice and steady. All right, that was close. You got it.
Stacking nuts, tossing balls, and threading a needle were just a few examples of the countless games showcased. Players progressed through 10 levels of the game, earning more money each time.
Do you want to play on or cash out?
We want to play on.
You want to play on?
Yes.
For $10,000 guaranteed dollars, this is your level 5 blueprint.
The show was so popular that it inspired international versions in more than 50 countries. The U.S. version went off the air in 2014. Number 4, 1 versus 100. It seems that no matter how far we go down this list, there's no lack of different versions of trivia games.
Well, you know how this works, right, Catherine?
Yes.
All right, either you are going to win or they are going to win.
For 1 versus 100, a single contestant faced 100 other individuals known as the mob, as they all answered general knowledge questions. For each round, the members of the mob that answered incorrectly were eliminated, with the prize pot increased.
Now let's see how many people got that wrong. There you go.
Yes.
The idea was to be the last one standing and earn the largest cash payout. This one, too, garnered enough attention that it spawned several dozen international versions. The show ran on NBC for 2 seasons before moving on to the Game Show Network, where it lasted for only 1 year before being canceled in 2011. Number 3, American Gladiators. Take a group of amateurs, throw them in various games of physical prowess and endurance, and see who comes out on top.
Ted LePage giving Turbo all he can handle.
That's essentially the plot of American Gladiators. Players, both men and women, would engage in or take on wrestling matches, aerial gymnastics rings, climbing walls, and countless other challenges, all of which were physically demanding.
Storm is so awfully strong, and she's got a few counter moves of her own to keep Shannon away from her body.
Well, I'm sure in Shannon's weight class, she would have made short work of this situation, but up against the power of Storm, it just doesn't work.
Contestants would often compete against the show's own gladiators to prove their worth. A bracket system was used to determine which players moved forward as the season progressed. The show ran from 1989 to 1996, with a remake appearing in 2008. But a revival is apparently being pitched that would feature WWE stars as gladiators.
Just getting pounded by the shots of justice. Molly taking a whole lot of time. Onto the sand pit. Molly has to find the arrow hidden in the sand, but he hit the smoke screen.
Number 2, Battle of the Network Stars. If you watch a show long enough, you might tend to permanently associate the character on screen with the actor portraying that character. Which is why, of course, when stars are thrown into real-life competitions, it can be quite entertaining.
Yes, once again, the network stars have come together to do battle on the fields of Pepperdine University in California.
Battle of the Network Stars was a competition-style show whose contestant base was made up entirely of then notable actors from television and film.
That's a hit and a dunk.
The stars were divided into teams and had to compete against each other in obstacle courses, football and basketball games, swimming, and even bike racing. The original ran from 1976 to 1988 and then was revived for a brief time in 2017.
Each competitor gets 25 shots, and the most in wins. Potsy will go first.
That's terrible.
Aim for the rim, Anson, aim for the rim.
Fonzie's what everyone wanted to be. Richie's what every parent wanted their kid to be, and I was kind of what everyone was.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few other game shows that don't exist anymore, but definitely deserve some honorable mention. What's My Line? Celebrities question contestants to guess their occupation.
Are you in the entertainment world of some sort?
Yeah, sure.
Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Kids game show inspired by the video game.
All these people want to know, where in the world is
Carmen Sandiego.
Scrabble, like the board game, but on TV.
It's the crossword game you've played all your life, but never quite like this.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You'll have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Hollywood Squares. Who knew playing tic-tac-toe could be so fun?
Why is the nurse blowing up your rubber gloves?
Oh, dear.
Because she's lonely.
For this classic show and its later iterations, the standard 3x3 grid was filled with celebrities who were given questions to answer. If the contestant guessed correctly as to whether the stars were telling the truth or not, they would get the square.
Yeah, X gets the square and the win.
The gameplay itself was quite simple, but what made the show so memorable were the often hilarious bits of humor introduced by the occupants of the squares. They would give hysterical answers to get a laugh from both the players and the audience.
What did GI originally stand for?
If we're talking about the doll, we're talking about genitally impaired.
Introduced in 1965, the latest variation went off the air in 2004.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.